Hi everyone, happy Easter, and today I'm going to be talking about gossiping, why we shouldn't do it, the difference between gossiping and spreading news, and if it's a problem in your life, how you can get rid of it or fix it, and finally, a personal story of mine of what gossiping can do to somebody. So, I'm assuming most people watching this saw the short and were interested to see what I had to say. So, I'm going to use a slightly different verse, also explaining the importance of gossiping and why we shouldn't do it. The verse is the first letter of James, chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. The verse is James, chapter 3, verses 5 to 6. Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasts great things. See how great a forest a little fire kindles. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. The tongue is so set among our members that it defiles the whole body and sets on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire by hell. This verse talks about how even when we say a small thing that we might not even think is bad about somebody, but they somehow hear it, it could really hurt them, and it can still be very damaging. And I have some similar stories like this that we're going to talk about later. Spreading rumors, true or false, can be really harmful to friendships, relationships, and family. It often causes major divides and sometimes even complete separation. Sometimes gossiping can even be a mortal sin, considering if you fully know it's wrong and there's nothing stopping you doing it. Now, just because you're talking about someone and they're not around you does not always mean it is a sin. For example, your friend Bob, he gets a new bike, and you tell your other friend that he got a new bike, and in the summer you're excited to go outside together. Obviously, you're just talking about his bike, like you're not saying anything wrong. It's when you're saying something negative about the person. Also, we all gossip, we've all done it before. We all still do it, and most likely will continue to do it. But it's something us as Christians and just everyone in general needs to work towards and overcome. Another thing I'd like to add is if you're with friends or family and you make a joke about them when they're not around, but you know they're okay with the joke, then I don't see too much harm in that. Just you got to be careful about what you say sometimes. That's all. So, for those of you with a continuous or ongoing problem with gossiping, which I used to have, now I still do it from time to time, but it's definitely died down a lot. My recommendation to you is you have to think about, why do I do this? What causes me to do this? Is it the way I am? Is it the people that are around me? And typically, it's the people you're around. So, a personal experience for me on this is my dad, my grandmother, and I would sometimes gossip about people in our own family and say things that we disagreed with or didn't like. And over time, all three of us, we started to change religiously and morally, and we realized like these things that we're saying about people in our own family are very wrong, and we all unanimously talked about it, and now it's definitely greatly reduced. Also, sometimes it's not your family and it's your friends. And with your friends, sometimes certain friend groups, you feel like you have to say certain negative things about people to look cool and to fit in. But I'm telling you, if you are not yourself around the people that you call friends, then are they really your friends? If they don't care about your true opinions or values, then I don't think that's an ideal person to hang around with. Now, I understand you might not have anyone else to hang around with, but I'm telling you, if you constantly sinning with these people, it doesn't even have to be about gossiping, it could be other things too. And you feel like you just don't belong where you are, but if you leave, you feel you're going to be all alone. You just got to pray to God about it and just say, look, I know you don't want me around these people, and you got to help me out here. So, um, pray for guidance and just, it'll all work out. You'll find like minded people if you look in the right places. Instead of looking at school or um, at the mall to meet new friends, try a church. Maybe that'll change. And you'll find people with the similar values of you. You have to look in the right places, and I've done that myself. I've found I still have a lot of friends from school. I haven't necessarily dropped anybody, but like going to church and stuff, I've met new people with like-minded values, and I really enjoy their presence, and I feel a great connection with them. And I think if you find people that motivate you not to sin, you found a great group of people. Also, if you remember the short, you would remember this Bible verse talking about not associating yourself with other people who are gossiping or leading you to sin. It's Proverbs 20:19. Whoever goes around to gossip tells secrets. Do not associate yourself with those with big mouths. Now, don't necessarily leave these people and like say, "Oh, get away from me. You're like a sinner or whatever. Like you gossip. What's wrong with you?" If you do that, you're just as bad as them. Now, if somebody asked you, "Why don't you hang out with them?" and you say in a respectful manner, "Oh, I just don't align with them anymore. Like I don't agree with some of the things they say, so I thought it would be best for me to separate," then that's okay, because that is the truth, and you're saying it in the nicest way possible of how it is. Another thing I'd like to add is that we're allowed to judge people, it just depends on the context. For example, if you're doing it to help someone and to bring them closer to God and not judging them in a disrespectful manner, saying like, "What's wrong with you? You're a sinner." All these things, like, that's bringing both of you further away from God. The other one is bringing both of you closer to Him. So, in the other context, you can talk about it respectfully with them and say like, "Hey, this is not something I'm comfortable doing anymore. I don't like it, and I recommend that you stop as well, because it's a grave sin, and it would be best for us to stop." And you got to leave it at that. If they're like, maybe you're right, and they want to hear more about why you say this or why you think this, then go ahead and keep talking. But if they're like, "Okay, whatever, loser," just, you got to leave them be. It's just how it is. Okay, now I'm going to talk about my personal experience of being a victim of gossiping and also being the suspect of gossiping. Now, first, I'm going to start off with the suspect because that's what happened first chronologically. Okay, so I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't know if the person's going to see this one day, and I don't want to get too niche and then they know like who they're talking about, because I don't know if the person knows even or is aware of it. But there's been a few people, an example. It's like some of them are even small things. Like I'll see someone walking by, they well, this was in the past, but this was more like grade 9, grade 8 ish, and I would say like if they had like a weird haircut or something, not that I have anything special or anything like that, but I'd be like, I would like whisper to my friend, I'd be like, did you see that? Like, that guy's chopped. Like things like that. Or like, if I would see like someone who's a little challenged in the head or something like that, or we don't know if they're challenged and they just act a little off and they do something weird in the halls, I would laugh and say like a rude comment about them. And sometimes it slips out even now, but it's greatly reduced. It used to be like an everyday thing. But the thing I think about is, what if they heard what I said? How do you think they would feel? Probably ruin their day. Maybe depending on what I say, or depending on how sensitive the person is, it could even ruin their week. So we just gotta be mindful of what we say sometimes because it can really hurt somebody. And that's kind of where I'm gonna go into my part of being the victim because the things people said about me, looking back, like it's not even that bad, but at the time it was like it really bothered me mentally and it messed me up for a while, just like an overload of things. But we'll get into that in a second. All right, so for some context here, this was around, I would say, grade 10, so a year and a half ago now. And during that summer, I decided to get a buzz cut, and I didn't have the goatee. And I definitely was less attractive than I was now. Not saying I'm anything special or anything like that, but definitely less attractive. And I might show a picture here. I don't know. We'll see if I have one. Um, and I was very self conscious, and it was during a time period where I didn't really love myself. So after I got this buzz cut, I lost a lot of confidence, and I wasn't very happy with myself. I didn't love myself like how we're supposed to, and I didn't respect myself. Um, I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I was sad. So yeah, and during the summer, like obviously I didn't really see anyone outside of my close friends. So like obviously your real guys, your real homies, they're they're not gonna, you know, mess with you that much. Like if they say things about you, it's not you're not gonna be bothered by it. So like once again, context of gossiping. If you're okay with the jokes from certain people, then it's not too bad. Um anyways, beginning of the school year, sometimes when my name would get mentioned in conversations, and looking back, I don't really know why my friends told me this, but I would hear things like if my friends would talk about me with someone, sometimes they'd say something very negative. Like one time, my friend was talking about me to this girl, and then just out of nowhere, she's like, "Ah, he looks like an ogre," and like obviously nobody looks like an ogre, so like I shouldn't have taken it seriously. But my friend, he told me this after, and I remember just being like, "No," and I was just like, I was devastated. I was like depressed about it for like a few days, and it just like it made me really sad and like made me like hate myself in a way a bit. And I just like, you know, there's so many bad things people are gonna say about you in your life, and this is just the first. And I don't know if I've necessarily had things worse than that because like it's not great, but I think if someone said something worse now, the best thing to do is just to ignore them because they said something when you're not around. So, what I'm saying is sometimes even the smallest thing can hurt someone a lot. I had other things said about me too, like This is one I get still to this day. Is oh, he's big, tall, and scary. He's like a grown man, and sometimes it's said in a good way, sometimes it's said in a bad way. When it's said in a bad way, what can I do? There's nothing I can do. Why should I dwell on it? Just move on. If I didn't like this, I could shave it off. You know, I am relatively tall. I can't control that, but especially things you can't control. If someone makes fun of you for things you can't control, um, that's like a terrible thing to do to someone. And also, if you can't control it, don't take it seriously. Don't dwell on it because you can't fix it. And th- throughout my throughout my life, I've had things said like this to me all the time. It can be about something I said. Sometimes it's deserved, but yeah, something I've said, something I've done, something about how I look, and it can hurt, and it does. But just remember, there's one person that will always love you, and it's Jesus. So, in conclusion, just try your best not to gossip. It's not a good thing. We all do it, but it's something we need to work on, every single one of us. And, sometimes when I make these, I don't even feel worthy of what I'm saying. But, guys, I'm telling you, following what God intends us to do is the greatest thing that we can do in our lives and for, like, after our lives. So, also, it's Easter, and I didn't really say much about that. Yeah, he is risen, and praise be to God. And I'll probably make one. I know last time I said that I was gonna make one, by the end of the week, and it's like 10 or 11 days. So I don't really know when I'm gonna make my next one. Most likely a week from now. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have a recommendation, please leave it in the comments for me. And see you guys, and God bless.